So we're about to get into all things blue therapy. So I hope you're ready for a discussion on episode 1. So if this is your first time being on this page, then welcome. My name is Kasey. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a certified sex therapist, trained mediator, licensed in the states of Texas and Mississippi. And what I do sometimes is I watch therapy shows so I can tell you what's actually happening in the room, and also some things that should be happening in the room. So today we're going to break down episode 1 of Blue Therapy. If you have already seen the whole series, I have not, but if you already have seen the whole series, and I hope you still stay here so we can kind of discuss episode by episode and the dynamics of each. So what I'm going to do today is, one, I'm going to talk about the doctor and, well, she's not a doctor, but going to talk about the therapist, the couple dynamics, probably a little bit of what I would do differently and also what I see happening there, and discuss some of the criticism that came along with that show. Because initially I was not going to watch it because I saw so much criticism about the show. Then I had a really good friend that said, hey, watch this show. I'm not a couple therapist. I know that you are. So watch this show and kind of give me your thoughts about it. And I think it's pretty good, but let me know what you think. So I watched episode 1. I have a ton of notes. So I am ready to dive right in with you and discuss this show. So Blue Therapy is a series on Netflix, and it's based over in the UK. I have to grab my glasses. Sorry for the glare, but I need to see everything. So it is based over in the UK, and the therapist, Karen Doherty, she's been a licensed therapist for over 20 years, and she also does some coaching. Now, her specialty is couples, but she also describes herself as specializing in neurodiversity. So looking at her website, doing a little research on her, I saw that she does a little work around the couples and ADHD in addition to autism, ADHD. So she works a lot on the neurodivergent scale and what that looks like in relationships. Okay, so we have 3 couples in this first episode. I'm just going to take these off because the glare is too much, and you're just going to see my notes. So we have Jay and Daisy. They've been together for 3 years, and they have 1 kid together, a daughter who's 7 years old. Immediately what I picked up from this couple, and just Daisy's strong language. She is very colorful in her language and the way in which she describes her relationship. And so a couple of things she said about Jay is some words she used, eye candy. And he said, when it's really good, it's good. And she said, when it's not, it's like the pits of hell. And I was like, wow, she's very colorful. And just her descriptive, language of the relationship. But their goal is to improve their relationship. And so here's some things. Jay says that Daisy likes to argue a lot. And Daisy says Jay doesn't understand how to be a family man. Now, in this episode, they were talking about how Jay went to get a tattoo right after the baby was born. And in Jay's defensiveness, he was like, hey, I was there for you. I was there for you during the baby. You were asleep. You were sleeping pretty, which if you've ever been in a hospital delivering, you know you're not sleeping pretty. You're just recovering from pushing something out of your body that you've been carrying for 9 to 10 months, okay? So let's get that part there. But he left her and he went to get a tattoo. In that, she felt completely abandoned by it, and she has not forgiven him for leaving her. And she's struggling in that place to forgive him, and it's been a year. So even right there, a year later, she still has those feelings of rejection and abandonment by her partner. And as he was saying, I was doing my best, and she said, hey, look, your best was not enough. And she may not have said feel abandoned, but my language in that was that she feel abandoned. And I believe the therapist may have mentioned that too. Also, one thing to highlight with this couple, the baby was not planned by either of them. And even though Daisy did not really want to connect to the baby, as she stated during her confessional, she got teary-eyed and she absolutely loves being a mom. On the other side of that, it appears that Jay, in agreement with Daisy, was not ready to parent. And I also believe that even though it's been a year, he still stands firm in that not being ready to parent. And I think it may be apparent, from a maturity place too, especially leaving to go get a tattoo after something as stressful as having a baby. Again, we have to watch more of the show. I have to watch more of the show. But that's something I kind of saw right there in that dynamic, that he did not, absolutely not want to be a parent, and he may still be struggling in that place. One thing I noticed with Daisy during one of her confessionals, and she started crying, I think that was a point when she was talking about being a mother. And she mentioned, I didn't think I was going to cry. I'm a soldier. And that can be a whole nother conversation in regards to just her being a woman of color and feeling that we have to always be strong, that she can't be vulnerable and go deep. This may have been for the camera, or it is maybe who she is in life. And this is something that a lot of us struggle with just being vulnerable and open, and feel that we have to be so tight and guarded and always strong. So that is something I immediately noticed in her. And I also saw that in her posture as well. Some things I look at even in my own clinical work, I look at body language, I look at where the couple sit, I look at how close, how far apart, the corners they go into. And it may not always mean that the couple does not want to sit together. Some people like to be in a corner. That may present as safety for them. And some people just like to sit in the middle of the couch. Some just don't want to sit in that line because it feels very awkward for them to sit in the middle of a cushion. But I also look at a lot of those things in regards to body language as it plays for a couple. And Daisy needs to learn how to forgive. That's what Jay says, that she needs to learn how to forgive. And I was like, whoa, okay, need. And here's what I will say when it comes to this couple, just had I been the therapist for this couple. With them, I probably would have just sat a little bit longer in a couple of things that were stated. One thing Jay said about her was that she's my soft spot. And she know I has a soft spot, for her. I love her. And the therapist kind of glossed right over that. So again, I would have sat with that because it appears it was something that she needed. Maybe she doesn't hear it as often. That you're doing a great job. You're a mother. You know I love you so much. You have all of me. And that's what I get from soft spot. You have all of me. So had that been me, I would have probably sat with that a little bit longer, just so I can explore that with him. Ask her, just how did that feel for you? When he said that you're a soft spot for him. Has he ever said it to you before? How does it land for you hearing that now, that you're a soft spot for him and you have all of him? So that is probably something I would have done a little bit differently with this couple. And I can say in this, it went a little bit fast, but not too much, right? It could have gone a little bit slower, but again, it's reality. Well, it's not reality. Well, it is reality. It's TV. So maybe the way she processed would have been different had they been off camera. So that's kind of a little bit of my synopsis with them. Maybe in other episodes, she's going to go a little bit deeper. She's going to explore other attachment styles. Maybe his need to flee after the baby. That could be some deeper stuff. That can be immaturity. They appear to be maybe in their mid-20s. Again, that part I'm not sure about because they didn't announce it on the episode. She was longing for him to stay. That may be something I would love to learn about deeper in regards to their connection, because that is something, if they've been together for 3 years, why is he not aware that I'm going to leave and go get a tattoo? Or I'm just going to leave her, even if she's asleep. I'm going to leave her, or even have a conversation. If you leave, I'm going to step out for a little bit, but not to go get a tattoo. So maybe they'll explore that later, but that is something to definitely sit with that couple. So that is just my brief synopsis on Jay and Daisy. And I also want to add that I don't believe they are married. And that may be something else that may come up with this couple. Even a therapist asked, if the baby was not here, would you still be together? And they both stated yes, that they would still be together, maybe somewhere in those 3 years, and not even 3 years. The baby just turned 1. So in my very quick math, they probably were together about 1.5 years before she got pregnant. And that can be very quick in your 20s. I know I was married in my 20s. That can be very quick to be together for 1 year and have a whirlwind of a relationship and not really take time to explore each other and get to learn and know each other before life becomes about pregnancy, a baby, and a family. So it kind of happened a little bit fast for this couple. Victor and Maria. I have so much to say about Victor and Maria. Like, my notes are like running off the page. And I saw so many flags here in this relationship. Victor and Maria, they have been together for 7 years. They both appear to be each other's dream person. Keep in mind, dream person. She describes him as her ride or die. I immediately got stuck as her Prince Charming. She said, he's my Prince Charming. He described the relationship as something out of a movie. And also, I'm lucky to have her in my life. And this is something that he's always wanted, because he's never felt seen or understood. And he's also been he feel like he's been misunderstood in his life. Now, a very important thing with this couple, he is Bulgarian and she is Nigerian. So culture is going to play a lot here with this couple. And if you've kind of seen it already, you may get an idea of what I mean. So again, they both appear like they're each other's fantasy, right? And just how they describe each other. Also, they have a business together. And that kind of struck me. After being together for 7 years, they are not married. They have a business together. So they are very committed in some things, but not in the ultimate thing, especially from Maria's perspective. Now, they are coming to therapy because Maria wants to be married. We've been together for 7 years. Marriage for me is the ultimate commitment. And I don't know why we're not there yet. Victor said something which is very interesting. All this is interesting to me. If I get married tomorrow, I don't think I'll give more than I'm giving right now. So some people may see that as, ooh, and be taken aback by that. What I think he meant was, I am so committed and invested and all in on this relationship. It's as if we're already married, so a paper won't change that. That's what he meant. Not that I won't give more. I'm already giving as if I'm your husband. That's what he meant there. He also said that he does things for a reason, and there's no reason to be married. So here we have a conflict already with this couple. She sees marriage. Marriage is her dream. Those were her words. Again, dream. But also, as I'm listening to her further, when the therapist asked her just kind of to describe to her what marriage meant for her. Now, that part I like, and that's very important to understand between both parties. What does the marriage mean and signify to you? And she said it's the highest level of love, and the highest level of love to commit fully. That's a full commitment, not the 7 years of relationship, not the business they have together, but me being your wife. That's a full commitment and the highest level of love, the highest act. And when we look at love, I don't think she meant it from an emotional standpoint. She meant it from an action-based standpoint. That's what I'm assuming. And can I say these couples are doing a lot of assuming in this show, which is what couples do because we don't have necessary conversations. Anywho, for her, that's the ultimate act of love is to make me your wife, and going from Miss to Mrs., as she stated in her language. But here's what happened. He gave her 2 promise rings in 2020 and 2024. And those rings were basically, in kind of his words, to make her happy. To make her happy. And to say, hey, but the interesting thing is that he gives them to her as birthday gifts. Two birthdays, 4 years apart, 2 rings, but not a proposal. Okay? So let's sit with that. 2 rings, 4 years apart on her birthday, but not a proposal here. And that's just to make you happy. So I know what you want. I know you want to be a wife. So here are rings. I will give you the things. And I know it's going to make you happy. And what she says is to get me to shut up and settle. And you also let me along. So I agree and disagree with the leading on part. Those rings could signify I'm here for you. I'm going to always be here for you and here with you. Could it be a little misleading? Yes. But she also was aware that he does not want to be married. So is she really being misled? Or is she looking at this a little bit differently? Looking at this as, expecting something more. When you're with someone for that long, 7 years, it's not like the first couple. They were 1.5 years, boom, pregnant baby. This couple has been 7 years together, working together in business together. She understands his commitment level and knows that he does not want to be a husband. So that's why I say, on one end, it's misleading. On the other hand, you kind of know the cards you've been dealt here. So we have to take some accountability there and not place all the blame on him. She got up and left because she was very emotional about it. And what I saw there from Victor is he wants to be understood. And this is why he stated he struggles and has always struggled in his life, because, and even in his friendships, because he said in the beginning he had no one in his corner, not even really friendships growing up, because he failed to be understood. And when she got up and walked away, and he made that statement that he wants to be understood and seen and accepted for who he is. And he is someone that he's going to lead you to the water, right? I will even get the cup. and allow you to drink the water before me. And so we'll lead you on and lead you there just enough. I am here with you, but not in the level in which you would like. I can't go much deeper than that, right? And her mother, Maria's mother, said something very important when she called her on Mother's Day, and that you're giving yourself to a man that doesn't want to marry you. Her mother called it right for what it was. He wants to be with you, and he'll be with you forever in this way, but not in a way that you deem and culturally we deem is the ultimate source of respect and the ultimate act of love. And Mother called it for the good. I'm not sure which Mother Day this was, but Mother said it, and Mother was right. Okay. Now, here's what I'm noticing in this couple, which is a very big one. Not just the cultural difference, which needs to be talked about, but also even in culture, breaking it down a little more, is just the attachment. She has a very secure attachment with her family. It may be a little on the enmeshed side. Again, I don't know. Culturally, she takes care of her family. He absolutely did not like that and got pissed at the end that she was taking care of her family. Also, he is not very close or very connected with his family. And he mentioned on a roundabout way, all he needs is her. So family and tradition is not something that he's really interested in. She's his family. And Maria sees family differently. I don't know if he doesn't have a relationship with his family, but Maria mentioned that she's closer with his family and he doesn't desire connection with family in that way. So Victor also says I think Victor doesn't fully understand her culture, which is why he really got pissed off about the money. And that's one reason why he got pissed off about the money. He also felt betrayed because she was not open with him about the money that she was sending to her family. Now, I have two things to say about this. One as a therapist, the other as a wife. On the therapist side, I completely get the betrayal. I completely get why he feels betrayed by her because they talk about everything. On the other side, as a wife, one can say she doesn't owe you access on that deep of a level because that relationship is not that deep in regards to girlfriend, wife. This is not business money. This is her personal money that she's using to take care of her family. And she's Nigerian. That's what they do. And so he got extremely upset with that, even at the end. I'm going to tell y'all something, okay? Baby, that would have been a little bit different on that camera if you slapped my hand away like that. The way he kind of slapped her hand, because he immediately got upset. And so what happened was I'm assuming he felt betrayed, which was that what we do in therapy, you kind of look at that primary emotion there. And I think primarily he felt betrayed, embarrassed, disrespected. But what came up, right, was the anger. So many see anger. Again, when you're a clinician, you look a little deeper, and he felt betrayed. So that is kind of my synopsis with that couple. What I would do differently if I was a therapist, I would kind of sit a little more in that culture piece. Culture, how they both see family, and also, and you can see how that will impact their level of commitment. I would dive a little more on, their family styles, their family relationships, especially Victor being Bulgarian and felt that he never had anyone in his corner. And so that's something I would definitely really kind of sit with this couple. And that is kind of my synopsis of those two. At the end, though, I was very interested when they both walked out and they were off camera, and Maria said, "Babe, I'm sorry. Babe, I'm sorry." So those are some of the things that we look at as clinicians, whereas many people look at really, what's happening, and I look after that, I look before that, I look in between that. And so that was very big. That in part was very big for me when he got immediately upset at the way she takes care of her family, the way he responded to it, the way she came back and said she was, was sorry for it, and the way he reacted in regards to his anger. Well, the way he reacted in regard to his feeling of betrayal. So that is Victor and Maria. I'm so excited to see where it goes with this couple. But 7 years together, business partners, and not married. She wants a deeper level of commitment, and he is like, hey, we're good where we are. Mike and Yasmin. I am so interested to see where this goes with them, because geez, it goes so deep. As I see each couple, I look at them and I see them, except for the first couple, because with the first couple, and I'm not going to flip back in my pages not to make too much noise, but outside of the first couple, as I'm watching more and more and seeing these other couples, I kind of see them at 5, 12, 16, all those things. And that's kind of what I see with Mike and Yasmin. And that really stood out. And maybe because Mike opened up early about his childhood and their relation to money. So this couple is not married. None of these couples are married. I just realized, oh my goodness. Look, y'all better stop being in these long relationships, okay? So Mike and Yasmin, together 5 years, 2 kids. One is a bonus baby. Mike came into a relationship with the kid, and they have 1 kid together. What I immediately appreciated about them was early on, Yasmin just took accountability and said, maybe I need to learn how to communicate better about finance in a way that it will land for him. So she stated that, hey, maybe the way I'm going about this is wrong. Maybe the way I'm communicating to him about how I feel about the way he spends money is incorrect or in poor taste. So my initial thought was, wow, I appreciate that. Most couples don't do that coming out. Often think, hey, their way is right. Please get him to understand what I'm trying to say. Versus maybe I should, learn ways to do it a little bit differently. So that's what I initially appreciated about Yasmin. Now, with this couple, they are engaged. Mike was a little bit resistant to therapy, but also stated that, I guess he does kind of want to learn a little bit. He is Nigerian. I am not sure what Yasmin's background looks like. She didn't state that in the first episode. But again, I look in the work that I do, I look at culture. It does play a lot in that, no matter how much we believe it or not. It does, because there's such a rich history underneath that we don't think of when we go into relationships or when we commit to our partners and so on. So Mike grew up he grew up what some may consider poor or in a lower socioeconomical class. They could not afford much. They were living kind of from pillar to post. I'm from Baton Rouge, so if you know, you know. So that's what I mean by kind of pillar to post. Okay. So Yasmin earns twice as much as Mike does. He's in the banking and she's a teacher. He's actually a business banking manager, to be more specific. Nigerian values, to him, he feels a little insecure, probably not a little, he feels very insecure about her making double the amount that he does, because from a cultural standpoint, he should make more. And I say this to a lot of women, because many, especially in modern marriages, or you approach your marriage in a modern way, It's okay if I make more. That's what women say. It's our money. It doesn't matter. This is not yes and no. For many men, they look at it from a traditional standpoint. I am supposed to be the leader. They tie leadership to their ability to provide. Their ability to provide is the money they bring in. Got it? So for Mike, I cannot provide for her in the way that I need to as a man. So that makes him feel insecure and shameful because he can't provide a particular life for her. They can't live off of his income. And so to the fact that even with his income, he overspends. He even mentioned culture again. That culturally, you need to show up a particular way. And I'm assuming what he says as being Nigerian. You don't want to look like you don't have because that's how you'll perceive. And it also will reflect who you are as a man and your ability to provide and show up for your family. And so rich cultural values he has there, which also impacts his shame, in addition to growing up without, and he is with someone who brings way more. He also did say, she doesn't make me feel that way though. And so what I'm hearing about Yasmin, the money she brings in, hey, this is ours. Again, the modernist, right? And I love that. This is ours. It's not I bring more and I control this. No, I still see you as the man, as the leader. I just make more, and that's what it is. So, and I really appreciate that about her. And I think he also does that too. So I think it kind of decreases some of the shame that he has about money. Now, he does overspend. He overspends a lot. And he says it's not easy for him. And he also feels like he kind of has to compete with her. Him feeling he has to compete with her, that's him. That is not her. Because again, he said that she doesn't make me feel that way. And I don't think he feels that is competing. I have to do more. Not that I'm trying to outdo you. I am trying to hold up my end of the bargain here as a man, a provider, a leader. Got it? And he did admit that he has a way of overspending. He buys things he shouldn't buy. He even mentioned buying the extras. So when you go to one of those big old stores like Ross and you get in the line and they have all this extra stuff that you don't need, the line is so long and it has all these stuff and it's by design. So you can look at it and be like, oh, that would be nice. Oh, I do need some extra headphones. Ooh, that candle will be nice. I should get a candle. Oh, I should get a journal. I need a new journal. Right? It's all by design. It's all marketing. And he admits that, hey, I fall for that type of thing. So Yasmin said, that's not normal. Yeah, your way of living and the way you spend money is not normal. So I kind of would have just pushed back on that a little bit and would have used that moment to educate her on that word normal. It's not her normal. And this is a great place to discuss and explain not his culture, but his upbringing. So when she says it's not normal, he feels diminished. He feels that this is not normal. And he did this in the video. This is not normal, so I am not normal. Since I am not normal, I am a problem. That is not what she said. Hence why communication is a big problem in this relationship. What he's interpreting is not what's being communicated to him. She's saying his style of spending is not normal. It's not normal to her. And he knows that it's not functional for him. But we also have to look at someone who grew up without, and even the pressure placed on him, as a Nigerian man, that he feels I have to have more. So he understands the impact it has on him. And he also understands that societal impact on him is how he has to show up as well. I can say he did a little bit deflecting here. And he was very defensive. And you can see that come up when she got on to him about the debt, because she said, I believe he has about $6,000 in debt. And he was like, yeah, I kind of have double. And when she got on him, y'all, when I say get on him, I don't mean yell, but when she responded to him, and she was still responding, with love and respect, but she was not pleased and she was shocked as hell, and I don't blame her. When she did that, he got defensive and he said, well, this is why I don't communicate to you, because the way you talk to me, and you're talking to me like I'm a kid. That's how he felt. He felt like he was being reprimanded by her, and she was not, from my perspective and my view. She was really expressing in that moment frustration, and she felt very blindsided and embarrassed that you bring me on this show, and on this show you tell me that you're $12,000 in debt. Oh, and you tell me that you've been lying for 2 months about not having a job. And we're engaged, mind you. So they're a little further along, we'll say, in commitment than the other two couples. But here we are not communicating at all about the debt that we are in, and we're about to tie the knot. We're not even working right now. We haven't worked in 2 months. And the way he's carried the scheme along, he has left when she did, and then circles the block and bring his tail back home. Hell yeah, I'd be upset too. And so she's not bringing in double the income. She's bringing in the only income. And so he's living off credit cards. So she's bringing in quadruple than what he's bringing in. Because she was making 2 times more. Now he's not working. She's making 4 times more. And he has all this debt. And she does not know about it. And she did not know that he's not working, right? And this couple is very interesting. And some things he was speaking was, as a man, I should do this. Y'all, I get that. I completely do. I completely get that. Also, as a man, he should have communicated with his partner. As a partner, you communicate about, the money is gone. I don't have any money. So he did deflect quite a bit there. And I'm very interested to see where she goes with this couple, if they even get married. He is a mountain of debt. He has another kid. They have a kid together, and all the income that's coming in is hers. He partially blames her for why she doesn't know. I think that's maybe 10% of that, and the 90% of that is embarrassment. He feels like a failure, and not just to her, but probably just to himself. And he is kind of back in that place that he grew up in, even though it doesn't look like it, because she brings in income that he probably didn't have growing up. So walking into the door, meaning door of his house, where it lives, it looks different. But financially, he is still in the same place. And so that's a lot of weight to carry in this relationship. So those are the 3 couples. With this couple, again, because she says that she is specializes in neurodiversity, she works with different cultures, I would definitely, culture is always going to be that thing I go to. I'm going to go to attachment styles there as well. I'm very looking forward to seeing what she does with this couple and even all three of these couples. So that is all three of the couples. I am very excited to see where the therapist goes with this couple, and I kind of gave a little bit about what I would like to explore with each of these couples while I was describing them. But just briefly, the first couple, I almost feel like they didn't really get the plane, off a little bit. They kind of started and then they had a baby and they landed, right? And so as they were kind of still in that honeymoon, that fun, that very surface level, and they got to a place where they were coasting. I think coasting should be a thing in couples, but they were coasting, meaning they would come to a good place in the relationship, and then baby, boop, we didn't want this. Now we have to be adults and parent. Now we get to see who we are really as real grown-ups here. So that is number one. Second couple, a lot of underlying stuff there, with one partner, again, Nigerian, the other partner, Bulgarian. Those some things to explore. Attachment wise, one appears to be secure in their upbringing. The other appears to be very disconnected from their family. So they see family a little bit different. So culture, values, again, the way they both see trust, because I'm assuming like the trust, ticked down a little bit for him, with him feeling a little betrayed by his partner. And couple number three, again, culture is always important there. Their relationship with money is very much important there, because it appears, as most of us, is ruled by upbringing. Not only was the education not there, the finances were not there. So for the last partner, he is more so, I have it. I never had it before. I had more than my mom had. And so I'll get paid next week so I can get this thing. I don't want to be in that place that I came from, but he was never educated on how not to be there. And so he's back there. So that is something to explore. And also the trust. In all of these relationships, communication and trust, a good bit of trust is lost with these couples. And that is something to definitely sit with and explore and see if they can be repaired. I believe the first relationship can definitely be repaired. The second one, the values are just different. So I don't know. Again, it may be. I'm always hopeful until they say we're done. The last one, I'm just not sure. But again, I believe it can be repaired. It's still only 5 years, but it's still early. A lot can be done and changed around money, mindset, family, and those things. So that is my synopsis on a couple. Now, when it comes to the critiques of the show, which is why I almost didn't watch it, many people were saying things like, she just lets the couples fight. The couples fight, they get to do what they want, and this therapist has no sense of direction. They just usually come in and just take over, and she just sits there, and just doesn't say anything. She doesn't mediate, right? As a therapist and a mediator, I'm a trained mediator, it looks very different. So from the outside looking in, as someone who doesn't have a trained eye, it looks very different. And for some, they also say it's staged, it's given reality TV. That is the reason why I almost didn't watch it, because I heard a lot about reality TV component. But I want to say, I actually like this part of it. Now, Dr. Ornish is different. They come in, they sit on the couch, they do therapy, they leave. Now I think also it looks a little bit staged. If you look at it, the way the couples come in, some of those things are staged too. They don't have the confessional. Correct me if I'm wrong, but In this one, they have the confessional. It's a beautiful couch. I love it. It's a little kind of more current to where we are now. So I can see the reality TV mix in that. What I think also is important here, you get to see a different rawness in them. You get to pick up some of those things you may not pick up in therapy. Some things they may say by themselves, they may not say with their partner. So I like the confessional. I call it confessional because look at the confessional couch. And yes, they have it glammed up and have the background nice like they do on the hip hop shows and American Medicine and all those things. But just outside of that part, what they're doing there is just, kind of highlighting, trying to go a little bit deeper, what the show can't always fully do. So I kind of like that part. And I understand the reality TV vibes. I understand some of the parts are staged. I think with any show you watch, even on Orna's show, there are going to be some parts that is going to be staged. Now, here is where I would like to explain, even with this therapist. I talked earlier about her being very specialized in neurodiversity. She also asked a lot of what comes up for you? How does that land for you? What are you feeling? This is what's called emotional focused therapy. And emotional focused therapy, it's a little bit slower, right? I wish she could have gone slower. We got 3 couples in 1 episode. I kind of didn't like that, but I also understand that it's TV. Had this been, real life, so to speak, or in a therapy room, you probably would have saw a little bit more. It would have been probably a little bit more slow than it was in this show. So I understand, but from that standpoint, what we do is called emotional focused therapy. It really allows you to sit with that feeling. What's coming up? How do you feel? Then you kind of reflect to the other partner, right? When you heard that, when you listened to that, how did that land for you? Meaning, when that fell into your body, what did you think? What did you feel? So outside of some of the glitzy stuff, right? Outside of the confessional couch and how the people dressed up, I think the biggest part was just how they dressed up. Baby, they dressed up for confessional reality TV. That's not how people come dressed up to therapy most times, right? And so even when the therapist style with Karen versus Orna, you see Orna very relaxed and Karen, a little more polished and put together. Maybe that's her presentation. And that is completely fine. There's nothing all wrong with that. Orna's style is more psychodynamic. Karen's style is more of emotional focus. So she's going to sit and watch you fuss. And what she's doing there is not letting therapy get out of control. She is tracing a pattern. So you're fussing, you're not responding. You're yelling right back. Who's the one to come down? Does his temperature get a little bit higher? Do we just stop? Does someone walk off? Does someone shut down? So what she is doing is just tracing a pattern here, not letting them get out of control. What happens is when you tell them immediately to stop, you're missing a big part of therapy. You're missing a big part of the couple cycle. And that's what EFT does, is it traces a cycle. He says this, she does this, he feels this, he responds this, she reacts to this, and this is the cycle in which we go. So it's not that she's just letting them get away with things and letting them argue. Again, I just saw the first episode, but what she is doing is tracking the cycle. So that is a little bit of why you see what you see, why some of you may not like it, because she's letting them get away. No, she's learning them. I have done that too. I have had couples walk out of my door, slam it, break stuff. It happens in therapy. I've had couples yell. Again, I don't let it last too long, but it allows me to see who you are when you're not on my couch. And that is what's going to help me tailor this better for you, because I get to see you in your rawness. If you button it up, as soon as that emotion starts coming up and you kind of pop them and put it down, right? Then you're missing a big part of how to work in this cycle. So just wanted to give an explanation as some of the complaints that I'm seeing about this show and my thoughts on that. I can't wait to come and talk to you about session 2, to see if she changes some things, to see if she goes a little bit deeper into their attachment style, if she talks about culture and the impact of culture on their relationship. I am so excited to see what happens with this couple and how it's going to move forward. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe this video, share this video with someone who you think may need to see it or would like to see it or can pick up some things from it. So until then, I will see you next time after I finish episode 2.